Good afternoon and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing on the Committee on Higher Education. At any point during today's hearing, no one may approach the dais. If you'd like to testify today, please see one of the Sergeant at Arms in the back to fill out a testimony slip. Please silence all electronic devices. Chair, you may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, Chair of the Committee on Higher Education. Welcome to our hearing on today's oversight topic, Pathways for CUNY Students into the Arts and Cultural Jobs Sector. In the past couple of years, our committee has looked at CUNY students being prepared for and entering the workforce both generally and more specifically in humanities, medical, and civil service careers. Today, we turn to the arts and culture sector. In her State of the City address in March 2025, City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams noted, "Our beloved cultural institutions have an outsized role in the strength of our economy, generating $110 billion for our city. And if we want to remain the world's cultural capital, our city must make the investments so that these institutions and our stories can exist now and in the future." Or as CUNY Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez says, New York City is the world's cultural nerve center. This hearing is about remaining the world's cultural capital and nerve center, which includes investing in our current CUNY students who will fill staff positions at many of our beloved cultural institutions over the next generation, who will bring their diverse backgrounds to those institutions, and it will help those institutions grow and change along with the New York City communities that they serve. One investment CUNY is making is in the support of fine and performing arts majors, other arts programming, and arts facilities across CUNY campuses. That investment is necessary and fundamental to the success of CUNY students who are preparing for careers in the arts and cultural fields. And I could speak personally from experience as someone who has his bachelor's degree in music of the immense value of this type of education. Another investment is one that CUNY has been making for almost a decade in cooperation with the Department of Cultural Affairs. That is the CUNY Cultural Core. In Create NYC, the 10-year comprehensive plan that over 188,000 New Yorkers participated in imagining, which was adopted in 2017 and updated as the 2019 Action Plan. One strategy designed to, quote, cultivate inclusive practices in the cultural sector was to expand pathways to and advancement in careers in arts and culture for students from underrepresented communities. Many of our CUNY students are indeed from those underrepresented communities. Making sure they are part of our renowned arts and cultural community should be important to all of us. In fact, just before the adoption of Create NYC, the staffs of DCLA, CUNY, and the Rockefeller Foundation had already put their heads together and created the CUNY Cultural Core, a college internship program that is aimed directly at the strategy that would be proposed several years later in DCLA's action plan. Since 2016, student interns have been placed in what is now 88 partner arts and cultural organizations, large and small museums, theaters, foundations, media outlets, advocacy nonprofits, galleries, dance companies, musical groups, botanical gardens, public libraries, and more. The CUNY Cultural Core was so important that the number of CUNY students placed in paid internships with cultural organizations became a key indicator for evaluating the success of the implementation of DCLA's plan. I'm looking forward to hearing about how the CUNY Cultural Core is doing, how many CUNY students have been placed since it was founded, and how many are learning from those placements right now. I also look forward to hearing about the work of fine and performing arts departments and programs across CUNY campuses. Furthermore, our committee wants to know what the City Council can do to support all of these CUNY efforts as we work to maintain our place as the world's cultural capital, or as you say, nerve center. I want to thank my legislative and budget director who's here, Adam Staropoli, my chief of staff, Jenna Klaus, Judith Goldsmith Pinkham, the committee's senior legislative counsel, and of course, Regina Paul, the committee's senior policy analyst. I would like to remind everyone who wishes to testify in person today that you must fill out an appearance card, which is located on the brand new desk of this brand new room. The Sergeant at Arms near that brand new entrance of this, yes, brand new room. Please fill it out even if you've already registered to testify in advance. To allow as many people to testify, public testimony will be limited to 2 minutes per person. Please note that witnesses who are here will testify before those on Zoom. Now, in accordance with the rules of the council, I will administer the affirmation to the witnesses. Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee, and to respond honestly to council member questions? Thank you. And as a reminder to our witnesses, please state your name prior to testimony for the record.
Lauren Anderson, Vice Chancellor for Career Engagement and Industry Partnerships at the City University of New York. Can everyone hear that okay?
I can't really, but I don't know if they can on TV.
I can speak loudly too, if that works.
A little closer to the mic would be,
Sure, absolutely.
and they'll turn you up.
Great. Good afternoon, Chair Dinowitz, and members of the Committee of Higher Education. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony before you today on pathways for CUNY students into the arts and cultural sectors. My name is Lauren Anderson, a proud film major, and I'm honored to serve as the Vice Chancellor for Career Engagement and Industry Partnerships at CUNY. In this capacity, I oversee the Office of Careers and Industry Partnerships at the Systems Office, which reports directly to the Chancellor in addition to the Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. This elevated reporting structure is a reflection of the centrality of student career success to the mission and day-to-day operations of the City University of New York. As our Chancellor often says, serving as a springboard for economic and social mobility is, quote, in our DNA at CUNY. To that end, the role of our office is, first and foremost, to ensure that current students and graduates of CUNY programs have the preparations, connections, and support needed to launch and advance in sustaining careers. In fact, our strategic plan, CUNY Lifting New York, includes explicit and ambitious goals related to the levers that we know help students pursue careers of their choosing. This includes undergraduate paid internship participation, which has been shown nationally to correlate with higher likelihood of job offers at graduation and higher starting salaries. The same is true at CUNY. The university is seeking to triple our paid internship participation rate by 2030. More than 50% of CUNY's student body hails from homes that earn less than $30,000 annually. For these students, their families, and their communities, the ability to connect to resilient careers in the best of times, and certainly now amidst the disruption of AI and slower entry-level hiring, can be transformative. That is why CUNY colleges are making strides to ensure that individuals who come to campus with the hope of pursuing the career of their dreams leave on a path to economic prosperity thanks to deliberate programs, policies, and partnerships. And it's not just individuals who reap the benefits of these investments. As committee members are aware, employers across the 5 boroughs struggle to find and retain the workers they need to mount a full recovery, pivot into new fields, and deal with the introduction of AI. Nearly 88% of corporate leaders surveyed by PwC reported higher than usual turnover in their ranks, and the challenges restaurants face in securing workers has been well documented. CUNY's talent pipelines provide the qualified workers businesses need to stabilize operations and grow. The same is true for our cultural institutions. New York City's arts and cultural institutions depend not only on curatorial staff, art historians, and artists themselves, but also accountants, facility managers, communications professionals, and technologists, among many other roles to keep their missions thriving. CUNY, with over 1,500 undergraduate programs alone, is in a position to be a comprehensive pathway for a diversity of students with a passion for this vital sector. CUNY is working to ensure that those who want to can identify and connect to pathways to careers in the arts. CUNY also runs 2 specialized university-wide initiatives to increase exposure and connection to the arts. CUNY Arts creates opportunities for all students to experience the richness of New York City's arts and cultural institutions. The initiative adopts New York City cultural institutions as an extended campus by providing free access to museums, participation in special and curated cultural events, and connections to paid internship programs, including CUNY Cultural Corps. CUNY Cultural Corps is a paid internship program with a rich history and multi-year track record of connecting students to paid work opportunities. Through this program, CUNY supports students as they pursue their aspirations for careers at the forefront of NYC culture while bolstering sectors that are vital to New York City's identity. CUNY Cultural Corps was established in 2016 by CUNY and the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs and the Rockefeller Foundation in response to a DCLA report outlining the lack of diversity in the city's cultural sector and the need to create, continue, and expand job pipelines for underrepresented New Yorkers. Since then, the program has connected over 1,320 CUNY students to paid work experience during the academic year in arts and cultural organizations throughout the city. Cultural Corps students earn $20 an hour and can work up to 15 hours a week. Students can filter roles based on availability, such as 9 to 5, evenings, or weekends. In FY25, the program connected over 200 students to internship opportunities, a fairly consistent rate compared to previous years. Over 230 institutions overall have participated with Cultural Corps since the program's inception, including established cultural institutions and nonprofit cultural organizations involved in the visual, literary, performing arts, as well as public-oriented science and humanities institutions, including zoos, botanical gardens, and historic preservation societies. Selected students work in one of the following focus areas: communications and marketing, education and public programs, development and fundraising, curatorial and exhibitions, and production management or performance and events. Host organizations that participate in CUNY Cultural Corps include the Met, the Whitney, Harlem Stage, Museum of the Moving Image, El Museo del Barrio, the Jewish Museum, New York City Ballet, and the Tenement Museum. The application to be a host site is open and available online to all. All partners must provide evidence of their being able to supervise and provide a meaningful professional development experience for each intern. Students from any CUNY college are eligible for the program, and over the past 3 years, interns from 23 campuses have taken part. Student demand for the program is tremendous. Over the last 3 years, applications went up nearly 300%, from 721 to nearly 2,800. In 2024, 2,770 students applied for 204 internship spots, so 93% were roughly turned away. Cultural Corps is made possible through the generous support of DCLA and with previous support from the Carol and Milton Petrie Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, and BNY Mellon Foundation. At its core, this program aims to create pathways to careers in a critical sector of New York's economy with an emphasis on recruiting participants who reflect the demographics of CUNY and New York City overall in terms of socioeconomic, ethnic, and racial diversity. Outreach to students is conducted through multiple channels and formats, including email, social media, faculty-staff engagement, information session, and on-campus activities. In the last 3 years, 85% of students have identified as people of color. Last year, 34% of Cultural Corps cohort identified as Hispanic. This representation closely mirrors CUNY's overall student body and exceeds the representation of the Hispanic community when compared with the city's overall population. The process of implementing Cultural Corps has not been without some bumps. The COVID-19 pandemic took a tremendous toll on Cultural Corps. In addition to the pervasive challenges caused by rapid closure of in-person activity, CUNY's 20% mandatory budget reductions reshaped the fiscal reality surrounding these programs. The impact of the pandemic was obviously felt by partner institutions as well, who were faced with the difficult decision of canceling or reducing their commitments. During that time, 40 Cultural Corps interns during the 2019-2020 cycle had their internships suspended as cultural institutions were unable to continue hosting in light of stay-at-home directives. And in 2024, again, pegs to the Department of Cultural Affairs budget resulted in a reduction in the number of internships offered. However, Cultural Corps continued to innovate and find a way to offer these critical experiences to students. The ability to pivot to online Cultural Corps programming provided a remarkable silver lining for cultural institutions. When COVID-19 forced many of these partner organizations to close their doors and lay off employees, talent sourced by the Cultural Corps allowed these institutions to continue to serve New York City and its communities, even from their own homes. As a result, students and partners recommended Cultural Corps to peers, as it was one of only a few programs that continued to operate during the pandemic. And since then, employers have continued to request remote and hybrid roles throughout FY25. With the start of the school year, another cycle of CUNY Cultural Corps is now underway. Moving forward, we'll be laser focused on ways to continue to improve and evolve this program. This includes taking steps to further strengthen transition into careers in critical fields following program participation, removing unnecessary barriers to student participation, and improving long-term tracking of alumni outcomes. We look forward to working with the city and city council to identify additional opportunities to bolster this pipeline to vital careers in an essential field across the 5 boroughs in the months and years to come. I welcome your questions and am joined by Amna Malik, Senior Director for Career Development and Internships, and Fatima Hernandez, who has led CUNY Arts, for questions.
Well, thank you. Fellow artist, film major. All right, so I don't think we'll have the time to nerd out over movies, but I will say that we in the Bronx delegation and our local members are kind of putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to supporting the arts and to film, because Bronx Community College has a wonderful film center for many years, and we just allocated, I'm trying to get the number now, it's over $1 million to completely revamp that area of their campus, so that their what was that? So that their students can really thrive in that environment. We're a lot closer to the ground level, aren't we? Here. Yeah. All right. This is a new room. I thought it was one of your phones. Okay. So I thank you for your testimony. I'm interested to touch on some of the things that you mentioned in your testimony, and which we will get to. But just in terms of the majors, people going to college for the arts, what's the total undergraduate and graduate enrollment in fine and performing arts majors across CUNY campuses, and what percentage does that make of CUNY?
So in terms of overall enrollments in arts-related programs, that last year in 2024 was around 9,038 students. If you're talking about fine and visual arts specifically, that's more in the neighborhood of 3,170 plus.
Okay, and are there particular colleges that have more robust programs that you see more people enrolled in these programs?
So we can get you a comprehensive profile of the majors offered by each program. Right now, I don't have in front of me the enrollment rates for all campuses across all programs, so I can't necessarily answer that at this time.
And what sorts of investments or cuts have been made or need to be made? I mean, you mentioned the 20% cut, and you mentioned people losing internships during COVID, but have faculty positions in the fine arts and performing arts been cut in recent years? If so, why? And have those cuts, if they were made, been comparable to other cuts, or have you made investments to try to bolster the arts at CUNY?
Thank you for the question. I do not have the faculty numbers in our arts programs. Apologies for that. We can certainly get them to you afterwards. What I will say is, in terms of demands for opportunities in the arts and cultural sectors, and specifically like career-related opportunities moving into them, student demand has skyrocketed for cultural core. And right now, the rate limiting factor as to whether or not we can offer more opportunities for these students is purely budgetary. It's not a matter of students raising their hands.
Well, and how do you determine what the demand is?
We look at it in terms of number of applications to the program, which, as I mentioned, have gone from 700 to now 2,800, and roughly outpace the number of positions we have available by 1 to 10.
That's for the internships, correct?
Yeah, that is. For
okay.
the
So that's how you're measuring demand for the major, is by applications for the internships?
No, apologies. For career-connected opportunities to move into the art sector, that's the demand we see. In terms of applications to majors, again, I apologize. I don't have that information. I have to
Yeah.
get.
So often, whether it's when I ask about education, we ask of our students, whether it's papers, homework, exams, we assess them, and we say X amount of your grade is for this assessment. And for CUNY, I ask the same thing. How are you assessing the demand, or how are we assessing the success or investment in the arts? And so one of the ways I think we would do that is by saying how much, not just money, but how many staff have you hired for what, whether they're professors or adjuncts, how much staff have you hired in order to bolster these programs? What investments in advertisements or investments in internship programs? So are there any indicators besides what you mentioned in your testimony of investments that CUNY has made or cuts they have made for the staff?
Again, I don't have staff or faculty numbers for all of our arts programs across CUNY. I will speak for the programs that our office oversees, which are the ones that are related to getting students into jobs. We have grown our staff that are working on specifically cultural core. We've added another staff member, which increases it by 50%. So let us get back to you with the numbers that you're looking for, because I understand that you're looking to measure it based on investment. We just don't have those numbers in front of us.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the measures is that like financial investment and people investment. So the entire Culture Core program is 3 employees, three
So
people?
we are able, because of the way that we run programs, to achieve really significant economies of scale in our internship programs, whereas you might need a dedicated staff member on every single campus if campuses were to run this initiative. Because we run it centrally, we can reach many, many students with fewer staff. The challenge has been actually on the side of student wages and how you are able to expand the pool with an investment in students, and that just has been relatively static throughout the years.
Yeah. So it sounds like in some ways you're doing good work working centrally. I think, and I've said for years, I think a number of things can be done centrally. As you mentioned, economy of scale would certainly help. But also measuring the success of this program, demand is significantly higher than what you're actually able to provide. So in another sense, there isn't the investment that needs to be done. So what kind of investment would you need? And just to repeat, 93% of applicants for the internships were turned away. And I like to remind people what the chancellor likes to remind everyone. He wants to be known as the patron saint of paid internships. I have personal feelings about that. I don't want him to be known by that yet because I think you have to pass away before you become a saint. So we don't wish that upon anyone. With a number of 7% acceptance, when you have significant demand, I don't think those align with the goals of CUNY or with the chancellor or with you of bolstering the arts programs. So what sorts of investments need to be made in order to bring the acceptance rate higher?
So we could not agree with you more and would welcome more investment. Our appropriation from DCLA has stayed constant throughout the years. It hasn't gone up in measurement with demand. Right now, we receive about $650,000 per year to field this program, with a cost for each intern of around $3,500. We would love to expand this and would love to grow it. We just have had to work with philanthropic partners to be able to sustain years of the program, but that's not really a sustainable process, continuously fundraising year by year for it in the philanthropic sector. So we'd welcome help and investment.
So the total from DCLA is 650, and what's the total amount for the program, including philanthropic dollars?
Amna, do you have that number?
In addition to the Rockefeller Fellows?
Including Rockefeller, yeah.
So 650.
Hold on, can you,
Oh, it's always something. Okay.
and just make sure you state your name for the record.
Amna Malik, Senior Director for Career Development and Internships.
Thank you.
So as Lauren, Vice Chancellor Anderson mentioned, we've received $650,000 from city funds to support the program, and we have an endowment from Rockefeller Foundation, so that helps us also fund the program, support us administratively, and with some of the slots that we have to fill, and that's about $30,000 a year.
30,000 from Rockefeller?
Correct.
In the past, as I alluded to, we have received additional grants from the Petrie Foundation and others, BNY Mellon. But again, in terms of the long-term investment that we want to make on this, we do think that philanthropic funding year after year is a challenge.
And it is a goal of CUNY to continue with this program,
We'd love to.
right? This
Yes.
isn't one of the ones you want to get rid of.
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay, good. And is one of those 3 positions a development director, someone whose job it is to get the funds for this critical program?
So we do have a member of our team who's responsible with work in coordinating with the Vice Chancellor for Institutional Development at CUNY. And we do, as I mentioned before, raise money for this program. In order to ensure year after year that we can promise students that there is going to be an opportunity for them, and more importantly, promise our cultural institutions that this is going to be something that they should invest their very limited staff resources in building year after year, it really does benefit from being a more steady investment than philanthropic funding, which year after year expires.
And I just want to, I'm not making the announcement. I am reiterating an announcement. We have 5 new SIGs, 5 new cultural institution groups that were announced this morning as part of the city budget. So you have even more institutions to work with. I will note 2 of them because 2 of them, I'll mention all of them. Brick in Brooklyn, the Louis Armstrong House and Museum in Queens, Pergonis, the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater. There's a Bronx and Manhattan venue, Noble Maritime Museum in Staten Island, and the Bronx Children's Museum in the Bronx.
And the Louis Armstrong House is actually at Queens College, so that is one of
Oh,
ours.
perfect. Okay, so what better way to integrate with the Louis Armstrong House since it's at Q? Thanks for the tip, Mr. Rhodes.
Actually, she knew that.
I knew that one, yeah.
I was just going, bothering her.
I'm sure she doesn't find it a bother.
Ever, never.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor.
Yeah. Is there now? Is there in the $650 a year that has been granted by DCLA and part of our city's budget, year after year that money's worth less and less, I guess. But is there a specific amount you're targeting as a system to increase that funding by, and for how many slots, internship slots, would that be allocated for?
Well, thank you for the question. One note is that we have had to do more with the same amount of dollars for many years now, and we have introduced several program innovations that have helped us to serve more students, even with less money.
For example?
For example, we, in an effort to ensure that more students benefit from this opportunity and can actually engage with our institutions that are willing to offer these placements, we've split the program from a year-long program where one student was with a placement for a year to one in which there are now two distinct semester programs, so double the number of students can participate. That has helped a lot in terms of making sure that more students have access to this. In terms of a target, again, we do know what the demand is in terms of applications, but some of those students are not necessarily qualified. We do screening for our host organizations in partnership with them. So let us get back to you on a target. We'd love to ideally meet the need for all students that qualify.
Well, I would hope that out of, forgetting the testimony, a few thousand, you said 2,800 applied and 700 received.
No, so this past year, 2,800 applied and 200.
200. I would imagine those other 2,600, you would find some qualified applicants for sure. So please get back to us with what those numbers would be, what that financial investment would need to be from the city budget, and then what the benefits would be. And then are you tracking also, the students who engage in this program, are you tracking their postgraduate, successes, whether they're getting jobs in the field, in the cultural institutions or in these organizations, or how it benefits them beyond simply having an internship?
Would you like to start?
So yes, we're very interested and work closely with the employers and the students as well. While not all information is available due to confidentiality, we do have an alumni LinkedIn page where we have students that finish the program come back, share their experiences, share their outcomes. We also have events that we take place with employers and at campuses to bring the community together of CUNY students and the industry to promote the success of the program, but just exposure to the opportunities that they have.
But the question is measuring the success of the program, right? I mean, there's anecdotal.
Yeah.
And then there's quantifiable. And we have New York State Department of Labor statistics, right, which at this hearing, CUNY has testified regarding other fields of work. So I'm wondering if you track that data for the cultural sector, for the fine arts.
So while we're working on the Department of Labor data, unfortunately we don't have it with us right now. I can tell you from the responses we've received from the students and employers in the last 3 years, we've had employment conversion of about 53 of our participants that have reported back. There's probably more, but it's due to timing and understanding of getting information from them.
What have they reported back?
That they've been offered other full-time or part-time positions at the placement sites.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
quick note on the labor market data, because in preparation for this hearing, we would have loved to bring more robust data for you. One of the things that we also could frankly use some help on is the wage records that we get from the Department of Labor are oftentimes 2 years delayed. And for a program that serves freshmen and sophomores who already are going to take 2 to 3 years to get to the point where they can be employed full-time, that's sometimes a 5-year lag on understanding what happened at the end of their program if they have not self-reported it to us. What would be helpful is if those wage records from the state included more information and maybe were more timely pursued, because they're incredibly valuable. But right now, I think leading into this hearing, we saw that only 27% of the students actually have active records because they just haven't been populated yet.
You're talking about the state records?
Yeah, that's right.
You want state government to work faster? The chapel's down the hall where you can all pray for that. I'm just kidding. In this government building, there's no chapel, to my knowledge. I want to ask you testified about the CUNY Arts, and I just want to look at the website for a second. A number of the goals, I'll go 3, 2, 1, provide paid internship opportunities throughout the academic year through programs like CUNY Cultural Corps, which we've discussed, which certainly needs more investment and also more data to show the impact of this program. Goal 2 is to adopt New York City cultural institutions as an extended campus by providing free access to museums, participation in special and curated cultural events. Fine. But I'm interested in goal number 1. Goal number 1 says facilitate integration of the arts into all aspects of the university curriculum. I'm going to repeat that. Facilitate integration of the arts into all aspects of the university curriculum. And I just, on a basic level, what does that look like to CUNY?
Fatima, do you want to state
Yes,
some examples of that?
I'm Fatima Hernandez, and I oversee CUNY Arts. So I can tell you that this program is beautiful, and it has encouraged students from all backgrounds and majors to feel welcome in the arts. So for goal number 1, we have worked with a number of organizations, including the Jazz and Lincoln Center, the MoMA, the Freak, and they have either invited us to their location for special panel discussions, and also, for example, they have visited some of our campuses for special programming. I can tell you the Jazz and Lincoln Center sponsor a group of musicians, and they went to LaGuardia. They have been at LaGuardia a number of times and in other campuses, and they, do performances and live panel discussions with artists, so students can ask questions to the artist, and enjoy a live performance. And also the MoMA has partnered with a number of our CUNY libraries to provide materials.
So it sounds like, tell me if I'm wrong, it sounds like to me that's for the arts students, that if you're an arts student having these experiences.
Everybody's welcome. All the students are welcome in this type of
Yeah, because what I'm reading from goal number 1, what it sounds to me like, yes, in your history, political science, your chemistry, your math, your English, the non-art subjects, it sounds the way it reads, incorporating the arts into the non-arts curriculum. Is that a correct reading of CUNY Arts?
We have faculty members who reach out to us that they want to work closely with, let's say, the Whitney or the Freak or the Shed on a special performance, and they want to integrate that in their class for any particular reason. What we do is that we will bring them together to collaborate.
I think that's wonderful. What I'm asking is the goal, I'm trying to define the goal, is the goal to integrate the arts into all curriculum, or is the goal number 1 of CUNY Arts to say we're going to have a very robust arts curriculum within the arts that includes trips and includes the other things? Is it university-wide, or is it in the arts, solely in the arts curriculum?
That we are working on that. Like, I cannot tell you that right now we are on that page, that everybody, every major, every curriculum is going to be taking benefits of this. But if they reach out to us with any particular ask, we make that happen. But that's the purpose. That's the goal. That's the goal.
So goal number 1
Yes.
is to have in all the majors or in all the curriculums some arts component.
Some are components.
So that's a goal. Okay, we
yes.
made it. We got. So goal number 1. I'm glad I did this one last.
Yes.
The other one is goal 2 and 3 are easy.
Okay.
So goal number 1 is to incorporate the arts to various non-art curriculum.
Yes.
Okay, on the record, we agree. Now, how is that being measured, or is it being measured, the success of goal number one?
We have different examples. As I mentioned, we have, for example, just a Lincoln Center reach out that they want to visit different our campuses for different performances or to bring
I
students
just
closer
want
to
to pause
the
you.
arts. Yes.
That's goal number two. Goal number two is adopt New York City cultural institutions as an extended campus by providing free access to museums, participating in special and curated cultural events. And it sounds like you're doing a wonderful job. You even have Louis Armstrong on the Queens campus.
Yes, yes.
That's great. What I'm asking is goal number one. Goal number one, to incorporate the arts. You know, you're studying American history, the 20th century. Is jazz being incorporated? Is Aaron Copland being incorporated into that history curriculum? Right, like and I don't want to do a whole lesson on
Yes.
Pythagoras and math. I will if I have to, but I promise I won't. Are those types of things being incorporated into the academic curriculum? And it sounds like you said yes, that's a goal. What I'm asking is there any audit of curriculum? Are there professional development? Is there any measurable way that CUNY is determining whether or not they're meeting goal one?
At the moment, no, but we are working closely with the Academic Affairs Office at CUNY Central to work on that.
Okay.
Expand our reach into the curriculums. It may take some time.
Okay. What does that timeline look like?
I cannot tell you at the moment. We will have to get back to you on that.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just going to... New York City is the world's cultural nerve center. That's the chancellor. I mean, and that is true. And it's what we say, $110 billion. Right? This is, part of who we are as a society is the arts. And it is an economic engine for our city. And you have this goal that's listed on the website of facilitating the integration of the arts curriculum into all aspects of university curriculum. And even in your testimony, you had said not all arts jobs are the arts. I want to read you what you said back to me, but you had said accounts, facility managers, communications professionals, technologists, like all of these, those are just some examples. And so it just seems to me that you have this really well-founded goal of integrating the arts to curriculum. It doesn't sound like there's any measurable way to determine whether it's being done. And it doesn't sound like there's been a lot of thought put into goal number one, which I would think is one of the more important ones, a comprehensive support of the arts. Is there anything that I said that's incorrect, that actually we've thought about this and here's where we are right now?
What I can tell you is that we are working with the Office of Academic Affairs for goal number one.
Is there any sort of timeline? Have they given you any sort of timeline that by this date, we want to know what your plan is for integrating the arts into more of our college curricula?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. So this is goal setting 101. Dates. Okay.
Can I
yes.
hop in here for
please,
a second?
Please.
So, as you know so well, in terms of curricula, individual faculty members are the ones who design their own curricula. So to reach scale across CUNY takes time and takes some extreme amounts of collaboration and coordination to do so. We have made an effort with CUNY Arts to start bridging that gap more by making this connection to Office of Academic Affairs, because previously they weren't so closely united. And so now that we're doing that process, we'll be able to have a much more robust planning process for that, and we can get back to you with more information. But because that is a recent connection point and a recent development, this approach to making sure that every individual faculty member can plug into this has been one where, yes, we would like it to be accelerated, but it takes time.
Yeah, well, I of course, in a system with over 250,000 students and 25 schools, there are challenges. It just doesn't sound to me like there are any steps being taken to implement goal one. which I would think would be I don't know, very basic, like you put on the website. I think it's a really great goal to integrate the arts into our curricula. It just doesn't sound like there's any concrete steps being taken to implement it. And so that's why I'm asking about the timeline. What sorts of measurement? If the measurement were, by the end of next semester, we'd have liked to have meetings with the entire history department at all of our community colleges. Like that's a goal, but it doesn't sound like any of that stuff's been done.
So I totally understand what you're saying. Thank you for pushing us on this. And we do understand what you're saying about goals. And we are going to have to get back to you on that. This move to OAA ensures, Office of Academic Affairs, ensures that we can be more closely united with the faculty engagement and curriculum side of the house. But those conversations are still underway. So totally understand what you're asking for. And we're going to have to get back to you.
Okay. Yeah. We have, I think people are realizing more and more about the importance of the arts. Now, we talk about like who we are as a society. We talk about, the economic engine, but we have in our country like a real question now about what support for the arts looks like and what it means for us as a country to support the arts with, government takeover of a single person taking over art centers in DC, of shows being canceled because they're critical of government elected officials. Like this is like your work right now is more important now than ever. Like this isn't just about like money and jobs anymore. Are we investing in the future of our society? And so your job becomes really critical to the fabric of who we are as a nation. So that goal is not, that it's not where it needs to be, that it's stated as a goal. It sounds like it's there for the website. Like really getting thought and energy and investment behind it is something that we need to critically invest in, both in time, energy, and in money. Your relationship with DCLA. Well, I'll go back to this question. CUNY, or as a system. In your view, how do you view the value of majoring in the fine and performing arts compared to the traditionally more stable career fields like business, technology, and healthcare professionals? And how is that value reflected in the investments of whether it's time or money that CUNY makes?
So when we think about, thank you for the question, when we think about the goals that CUNY has laid out, ensuring that more of our students can connect to careers of their choosing, have job offers at graduation, are consistently employed a year out, that's not just a goal for business, technology, science. That's a goal for all of our students. We are not placing an emphasis on some above others or saying we're only going to invest in certain sectors, although we are investing in cultural and arts sectors because we recognize its importance to the city of New York. We approach the question of how we can help students connect to jobs with the same investment and the same approach to making sure that our outcomes are successful if you're a humanities student than if you're a business student. So the value that you're saying of arts majors, we value them and want to see those students succeed and get into the careers that they want to in the sector the same that we value others. Right.
And, one of the other questions I ask all the time, you can almost, CUNY can write the questions for me. It's like assessment and accountability. And one of the other ones that comes up is advertisement or outreach recruitment. Mm-hmm. And is there any proactive way that you are recruiting arts students specifically for arts programming at CUNY?
Happy to talk through how we are encouraging students of many majors to get the exposure they need, to target them, to get into these initiatives that help increase their pathways to the arts. So we can tell you like the kinds of work that we do to recruit them once they're already at CUNY. If you're asking about recruitment into arts majors, we're going to have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a pretty big school system, I'd say. Some may call it the largest in the country.
Yes, and we work very closely with New York City Public Schools.
You do, and you have a great relationship and a lot of data sharing, including now IEP data, which I like to remind everyone can be shared with the consent of the student or the parent. But we also have arts schools who are built with a theme. I taught at 2 of them. And so I'm interested to know if there's any efforts to recruit specifically from those schools. Just like if you were a business major, I would think you would want to recruit from the business and finance school or develop that relationship at least. Is there any sort of efforts to build those relationships with individual schools to recruit from there?
In terms of the relationships that we build with individual schools, the folks on this podium and table don't oversee the individual school-to-school recruitment process. So I hate to say this again, but we are going to have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, it seems there's a lot of, a lot of the same questions I ask of CUNY is like the data and accountability. But, would certainly be interested in any of that data, any of the ways we're supporting this program. Remind you the funding request, what that would be to enhance this program so we could have more than a 7% acceptance rate for internships that at least 53% lead to careers, for a program that is seeing more and more interest, for programming that for our nation is like really critical, more now than ever. I want to thank the 3 of you for coming and really beginning this conversation about the arts, something that is near and dear to my heart, near and dear to this council, and important to the city of New York and to our country. And I look forward to further conversations. I look forward to that data, and I look forward to that sort of accountability and goal setting to make sure that that goal number 1 that you've listed there is really integrated into the curriculum so we can have as well-rounded students as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to call up the first panel. Rachel Lee and Patrick Quinn. And I have something to tell you. The hearing is now open for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a formal government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video, recording, or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcript of such recording to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If anyone wishes to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant at Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you'll have 2 minutes to speak on today's hearing topic, Pathways for CUNY Students into the Arts and Cultural Jobs Sector. If you have a written statement or additional testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. I've called at the first panel, and you may begin. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you. Rachel Lee, Director of Audience and Youth Engagement at the New 42. New 42's mission is to make extraordinary performing arts a vital part of everyone's life from the earliest years onward. Through our award-winning Youth Corps program, we champion our city as a thriving hub for the next generation of creative professionals. The New 42's Youth Corps program is both a job and a program. Youth Corps members work in front of house and administrative positions within our organization while also receiving paid professional development, life skills training, and academic support. The program is designed to address the challenges that uniquely prevent students of color, first-generation college students, and students from low-income communities from things like matriculating, seeking financial aid, balancing internships and home responsibilities, and so much more. Today, our Youth Corps members, the program remains as one of the city's finest, first and largest theater employment and skills-building programs for young professionals. This year, we'll serve 60 New York City high school and CUNY college students. 40 of these students are from CUNY schools, thanks to our partnership with CUNY Arts and CUNY Cultural Corps. We're currently hosting an intern from CUNY Cultural Corps' program, and he's amazing. During the last 30 years, the Youth Corps has nurtured over 1,600 young professionals from across New York City. Our alumni have now gone on to attain lasting full-time careers as arts and business leaders in companies like the Walt Disney Company, Symphony Space, Goldman Sachs, Google, and 16% of our current staff at New 42 are alumni of the program. We urge City Council to continue its strong support of arts education and workforce development in programs like ours. And if you'd like to see them in action, you're always welcome to come to one of our theaters, come see a show, and see them do excellent work. I want to end with a quote from one of our program participants. His name is Joel. He's a LaGuardia Community College student. He's in his third year of the program. He says, "During my time as a member of the Youth Corps, I've learned the importance of communication and consistency." Great. The team-based work has helped me build more communication skills, and learning how to be consistent shows that you are someone you can rely on, which is a huge everyday life skill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Quinn, CUNY Media Makers Internship Coordinator and CUNY Educator. Thank you, Chair Dinowitz and members of the Council Committee on Higher Education for holding this oversight hearing on pathways for CUNY students into the arts and cultural jobs sector. I'm Patrick Quinn, CUNY Media Makers Internship Coordinator of RealWorks. I'm testifying today to underscore the importance of establishing pathways for CUNY students to enter the arts and media job sectors, and to demonstrate how RealWorks prepares and places CUNY students into jobs across the media industry. For 25 years, RealWorks mentors, inspires, and empowers underserved NYC youth to share their stories through filmmaking, creating a springboard to successful careers in media and beyond. We provide students with both in-school and after-school programs, which include filmmaking education, one-on-one mentoring with filmmakers, technical training, and of course, career exploration. Media Makers, the workforce program within RealWorks, was launched by the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment in partnership with CUNY in 2019. This workforce development pipeline is designed to prepare people from NYC's historically underrepresented communities for jobs in New York City's $82 billion a year media and entertainment industry. Through industry-recognized credentials, apprenticeships, paid internships, Media Makers graduates are trained, talented, and job-ready. In 2025 alone, 460 students participated in Media Makers. To date, 959 internship placements have been made at companies like NBC Universal, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Panavision. Additionally, 1,073 Media Makers graduates have entered the workforce in the media industry. With this background and expertise, RealWorks hopes to be a partner with the City Council and the city to expand pathways to the arts sector, ensuring more young people will have access to the training, resources, and opportunities needed to build successful careers. Thank you.
Thank you. I think
I'm sorry, guys. We're struggling with that. Please forgive us.
you're doing great. They're in a brand new environment. You're doing fantastic. I have to. I don't know. You said 16. You said 16% of your interns come to work full time. I think 25% of my staff were interns in my office.
All right.
And came to work full time. So
Got some work to do.
you got some work to do. You had one CUNY. You have one CUNY Cultural Corps intern. Can you talk a little bit about your interaction with the program, if there's any, if your work is mostly with the intern? Can you talk a little more about that?
Sure. So our partnership with CUNY Cultural Corps sort of works in both directions. One, we rely heavily on CUNY Cultural Corps as a recruitment partner for our programs. So many of the ushers who are part of New 42's College Corps program are they find out about the job through CUNY Cultural Corps. And then on the flip side, when they are hosting interns in their program, we applied to be an intern placement partner for them as well. So we're sort of serving them in two different directions.
Great. And you would find it to be a successful program?
Yeah, I've really been enjoying it. Our intern from the CUNY Cultural Corps has been wonderful. He's very eager. He in his second day wanted more to do, which I think is a huge testament to work ethic.
Oh yeah,
and all that.
We love it. And do you think the city should invest more in this CUNY Cultural Corps program?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that
Easy one.
if we had, if they had the capacity to serve more, we would absolutely host more of them within our organization.
And I missed in your testimony, you have CUNY Cultural Corps interns.
We recruit CUNY students, but that's a distinct program. So we're recruiting with media departments across CUNY. We have liaisons at all of the campuses, but we have specific partners that we're more engaged with. And then being a CUNY educator at LaGuardia Community College and formerly at Hostos in the Bronx, we kind of recruit within the classroom.
You abandoned the Bronx? You left us?
I'd love to come back if there's a class to teach. But recruiting, using those liaisons to help us support who would be correct for our program, who would be a good fit, has been essential.
Yeah, and I know you have great relationships with all the schools, and our CUNY schools do really have great programs. And you, part of it's making movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are these available for public consumption? The movies, or are they secret movies in the Disney Vault?
But
Anyone remember the Disney Vault? Do you remember that?
the students within the program,
Well, no, the movies that they produce, are those available for the public to watch?
they are not.
They're not.
I don't think so. No.
I'm interested to know some of the thinking behind that, between not publishing the movies publicly.
I don't know. I would have to. I'd have to check with Disney, but you know, one of the
Not
things,
Disney, RealWorks.
Oh, RealWorks. Oh, of course. Yeah.
I was kidding about the Disney.
There's a RealWorks film festival. It's happening.
I know you send people to work at Disney, but I was kidding. Okay, for background, like 20 years ago when they started doing DVDs, they'd release them for a limited time and put them back in the Disney Vault.
Yeah.
What this all means is that I'm old and you're not. What I'm asking is, are the RealWorks movies available online for people to see?
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole process of archiving all of the student films.
Yeah, wow.
They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. So that's a concerted effort in advance of the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, that's great. Just would really love to see. I know you do. Like, we've met before, and you've done great work. I really would love to watch some of what the students have produced, rather, because our CUNY students are very, very talented.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for your testimony today. Appreciate it. I want to recognize that we were joined by Councilmember Marte and Councilmember Felice on Zoom.
Thank you.
That concludes our in-person public testimony. We'll now move to remote testimony. If you are testifying remotely, please listen for your name to be called. Once your name is called, a member of our staff will unmute you. Then you may start your testimony. Once the sergeant at arms sets the clock and cues you to begin, if there are witnesses signed up to testify remotely, please raise your hand. Oh, he came in just at the right time. He has his slip. You didn't do your homework? Okay. This is a hearing entitled Pathways for CUNY Students into the Arts and Cultural Job Sectors. I'd like to now call to testify Christopher Leon Johnson. And you may begin. We have 2 minutes to testify. You may begin when you're ready.
All right, thank you.
State your name for the record. Thank you so much.
Hey, my name is Christopher Leon Johnson. Thank you, Chair Dean, for having this hearing. I just came from across the street. two testimonies, Kingsbridge, and then what's the other one, Nycc. So great. So let me show my support for these people, for the children that's in CUNY. I believe that they need more arts in the schools. I don't know why that arts is always underrated when it comes to CUNY. I believe that the city council need to help work with the. I know that Rivera's not here no more. This should have been a joint hearing or had like a emergency chair, the co-chair this hearing. But it's something where I believe that the arts are really needed back into the CUNY system. I think that the arts really helps the kids' minds. It gets them out of trouble. It really expands the mind. The brain can do a lot. But the brain can go a lot. You start understanding like, yo, your brain is capable of do a lot of things, and but you're not using it, and you're not able to use it, then it does no service. So I believe that the chancellor should really keep on working with you guys to make sure that the motto should be keep on working with you guys and make sure that this stuff keep on flowing inside the schools. I think that more art. I know we got a new facility here on the 8th floor. I don't know why that the city council is not allowing every month where kids the students' art is featured on this floor, including the fact that the art should be featured on the city council chambers. I mean, that if I had my way, it should be a bill to where that you should introduce a bill to where like anybody every month kids are select like artwork and are selected to and more, since it's a beautiful rooms here, I think that CUNY should be able to use these rooms and do like mock city councils and mock judge trials and stuff like that. And that's what we start doing. This is beautiful. These three rooms are beautiful. And you start using them more things.
Thank you for your
All right,
for your testimony.
Thank you.
You did great off the cuff.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could deal with a painting or two in here from a CUNY student. How about it? How about it? We could do it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank CUNY and all of our witnesses for testifying today about the arts pathways to careers in the arts at CUNY. I mean, as we discussed at the hearing, really not just having a separate program, although it's a great program. CUNY Cultural Corps is a great program, the arts, but integrating the arts into the academics, really making it just as valued as any of the other academic fields is really critical, both to the economy of New York City, the robust arts economy, and to asking that question: who are we as a country? We are a country who values the arts, where arts can be used to express oneself, but also express their political views and dissent the government. And at a time when our government seeks to censor and silence artists, people who simply speak their mind, sometimes tell a joke they don't like, we really have the responsibility here in New York City to invest in the arts and to invest in what makes our country such a special place. And I think with really setting measurable goals, increasing the funding for these programs, we can really do a lot for our students, do a lot for our city, and say a lot about who we are. With that, I will close out this hearing. Thank you, everyone.